Welcome to Paper Mache Mask Part 2. So the first thing is we will want to take the aluminum foil off of the mask, and we need to do this very carefully. And we're going to keep the aluminum foil because we're going to put the mask back on when we do the third and fourth layers. So just peel this up carefully. You may need to push the aluminum foil back on your face to get it to form just to your face again. But this should peel up. This is why we let it dry. Oops, I'm getting a little bit of tearing there. Okay, actually I have one that I've done already, which I will do to save time. This one is actually easier to get off. I just pulled the whole thing off, pulled the saran wrap out of the back, and then I have, this is ready to go again. So once you have separated your mask from the aluminum foil, you might want to take this again, as I said, and put this back up on your face to make sure that it's the right size. And that we'll use again in a minute. So now if you are going to have this be a decorative mask, you can just keep going with the other layers. But if you want to be able to see out of this, I'm going to show you how to put eye holes. And another thing is on these two, you might want to trim the edge down because this will be sort of the final edge, and it's nice to have, so I was saying, nice to have this smooth. We're going to paper mache this edge, but this is sort of the size that you'll want to be your final mask. Okay, and let me show you how to put eye holes in here. So you can put eye holes in your mask even if it's going to be a decorative mask that's just going to hang on the wall. It's kind of fun to put a different color paper in back of there, which you could paint also, but you decide if you want to put eye holes. So this is the way that I do it. You're going to want to feel, you're going to want to press your finger and feel where your eye is and then mark that spot. So I'm going to do this, press, just mark a little hole, and then again on this side, mark a little hole. And then I want to take a push pin and make a little hole there and see if I can see out of that place. Sometimes I make a series of a few dots. So I'm pushing a little area there just to see if I can see. And I'll check to see if I can see that place. Yes, I can. I can see you. So now I'm going to cut with scissors, and it's easy to poke through because I already have a few holes with the push pins. And I think I'm going to make my eyes slots rather than the shape of an eye, but you can cut it any shape that you like. Sometimes it helps to draw your shape that you're going to cut before you cut it, just so that you can sort of check to make sure it's going to be symmetrical. Doesn't have to be symmetrical at all. You could have two different eye shapes. So then you want to do this a little carefully. And it's pretty easy to do because we only have 2 layers. If we get into 4 layers, then it's very hard to cut. And besides, we'll want to paper mache the edges of this so that we don't have the layers of the paper mache mask showing through. Okay, and it's a good idea to check this before you go on to the second one. Okay, looks great. You can see out of it. So I'll go ahead and cut the second one. Okay, I've cut the second eye hole. I had to adjust it a couple times and I kept bringing it up to my face, which you want to do. And now I'm going to add a few more things to my mask before I put it back on the aluminum foil and do my last 2 layers. So I decided that I wanted to add some spikes across the forehead of this. And so I just tried making some triangular shapes until I got kind of the shape that I liked. And then I will use this as a guide for some other ones. So now I will cut this, and oh, that's interesting that this side's got cut off. So I'm going to make a bunch more of these. Okay, now that I have these cut, I can make them into my little cones, tape them closed, and I'm going to tape them to my mask. Now, again, I just need the tape to hold it in place while I paper mache. The paper mache is going to be what's going to make it strong. So I'll start with, I think I'm going to put 5 on, so I'm going to put one in the middle. And I don't need them to be completely in the middle, but approximately in the middle. Okay, so there's one of my spikes. Now this is going to be a little bit hard to paper mache. So if you want to make it easy on yourself, you could just you could decorate the whole mask, just having it be flat instead of adding things like this, which are harder to do. Or another thing that you can do when it's finished, painted, and decorated is you can glue things onto this. I think something like this is a little hard to glue on. It won't stick very well or stay very well, but you can do beads are a good thing, yarn, ribbons, anything that you can think of. All right, I'm going to keep doing this. I also decided, after looking at this mask earlier, that I kind of want to add some ears. So I cut out a couple ears, and I will tape them on in just a minute, but I wanted to show you. If you're going to do ears like this is a little bit tricky. I would do more of a ear with a bigger base than that, but you could cut that out. And then you would, and again, this is just cereal boxes. Then you could, I might even need to put my glasses on when I wear this mask, so ears will be a very helpful thing. I want to tape this on pretty well, just so that it won't flop around too much while I am paper macheing. You want to do that on both sides. So if you're going to do some kind of animal ears, you will do this as well. All right, that will hold while I get my layers of paper mache down. Also, if you're making this mask, the hardest part about wearing these is that there's no room for your nose. So I cut out a nose hole, same way I've held it up to my face, pushed here, made a little hole, then cut this. And if you need help cutting, of course, ask an adult. Not that they necessarily can cut any better than you can. But now I have this. So I might leave it as it is. It's kind of creepy just showing my real nose, but I'm going to show you how to put another nose over here that you can paper mache. Okay, so I made sort of a nose-like triangular piece, which I'm going to tape here. And after you do that, do check to make sure that it fits on your face well. And then you can just paper mache right over that. And this is an opportunity, if you wanted to even do this on the other mask to make like a bigger nose or something kind of interesting, you could do that as well. So you can see that there are so many different ways that you could go with this. You kind of make any mask you want. I also made different eye holes on this. I haven't cut down the edge yet to make it sort of a mask-like shape. So that fits over my nose really well. I can breathe through that. So that's how you would do that if you're using this mold here. All right, so you can see that I decided to do 3 spikes instead of 5 because I could see how challenging that was going to be. And I thought I would do this next layer with regular printer paper, just in case you're using that at home. I want to see how that's going. So now I'm going to do the edge of this mask so that I have a nice clean edge, and then after I do that, I'm going to put it back on my mold, because again, it's going to get a little bit wet and sloppy when you do this, put the paste on. So again, just a couple spoonfuls, and I want to massage this in. This paper's a little thicker. So all around this mask, I'm going to put it on the edge and then fold it over so that I have a nice, strong, smooth edge. I can sort of, anywhere that I have something sticking up like that, I can smooth that down. And then for your last layer, you can come right up to this edge, or if you want to, pick it up again and do the edge with the fourth layer. That is completely fine. This is a big piece, so I'm going to find a nice big area to do this. So again, I'm just going to go around the whole edge and make a nice smooth edge. In the smaller areas, you're going to need smaller pieces. And then where I'm doing my ears, I can actually get the back of my ears at the same time. So I can massage that in, do the back of my ears, fold that over, smooth it down. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the whole mask and then start on the second layer. I'm sorry, third layer. Okay, now I've gone all around my edge, and by folding it over, I've effectively done 2 more layers all around the edge, so I don't need to do that again. I mean, I don't need to actually, I want to come up and cover these, but I don't need to go around the edge again. Now I'm going to do the eyes before I put it back on the mold, and I'll need little pieces to do in here, but I can actually just stick them through and fold them over like so. I'm going to do that on all, at least 4 sides of this, so that I have a nice smooth edge to my eye. Now, if you've made a rounded eye, you have to have much smaller pieces to go around. Otherwise, it's hard to get around those curves. I've done these masks where I haven't actually done this part in the eye, but I always find that there's a ragged edge there if I don't, and that bothers me. And it also sometimes sticks in your eye a bit, so it's a good idea to do this. Okay, so after I just do this piece, I will probably go and do a couple more in there. But I just want to show you that at this point, I'm going to put it back on my mold so that my mask doesn't get too misshapen as I'm working on it. And then if you've done anything kind of tricky, you have to have patience and do a good job of getting your paper mache around your tricky parts. I find that the ears are not quite so hard. You can actually come up like this and fold around. I think longer pieces work a little bit better there. So again, you want to make sure it's attached to your mask really well. And this paper that I'm using, we actually ran out of printer paper in the house, which was kind of a crisis. So this is really nice resume paper. It's a little bit thicker than normal printer paper, and it might be, when I let this dry, it might be enough that I don't need to do 1 more layer. But I'm going to wait and see. I'll let this dry maybe for a few hours and then come back and see if I need to do a second layer. Or I should say the 4th layer. Okay, so I'm just going to keep doing this for a while, and I'll show you when I get done. Here I have finished my last layer on my mask. It took me 2 sheets of computer paper to do this, and then I ran out, so I went to my newsprint to finish up. I put it against my face again one more time to make sure that the fit was right, and now I'm going to let this dry for at least a day. So we're now heading into a week of vacation, for our school district. And I think I will continue showing videos of this. I'm going to decorate this. This is a great project to do a little bit at a time. So you could do one layer a day, 4 days, take another day to half decorate it, do another day after that. So I really suggest if you're bored or looking for something to do, this is a really fun project. And you have this really amazing thing when you get done. I found this was very soothing to do. I was not thinking about anything else except just making my mask. I can't wait to decorate this. I already have a million ideas. So I'll post again probably on Monday and maybe another few times during the week, but then I'm going to be taking some time off and doing my own work. So have a great time. Again, email me if you have any questions or are stuck on anything. Here's my email. I'm also posting these on Instagram. My Instagram is Kaylin Meyer Art with Kids, and I have a hashtag Kaylin Art Lesson if you want to show me what you're doing that way. Great. Have a good break.